This is the time of year when everyone's getting together their summer plans.
And for many of you, you're going to be visiting national parks.
To date, we have visited 21 national parks.
Not bad.
Not bad.
And this summer, we're going to visit a national park on the way to Alaska. And then when we get into Alaska, probably hit 2 or 3 more. And then hopefully on the way back from the West Coast, hit another one. So we'll be racking up the national parks.
Yeah, we love visiting our national parks, but there's one thing that we've learned every time that we go to a national park. These places are busy. They are always busy. Busy, 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 busy. You're gonna have to stand in line. You're gonna have to sit in line in your car. And they're just always so busy. So with that being said, we thought we would share with you in this week's video the things we've learned that will make your visit to a national park less stressful and help you to get the most out of it that you can possibly get. I'm Lynn.
And I'm Danny.
And if you don't know us, we're RV America.
The original RV America.
Now's the time for you to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already.
And that notification bell. That way you'll get to see our videos as they come out, and they'll be right there for you.
So let's get to the tips.
So the first thing I want to point out to you is know before you go. Your trip starts at home, so do your homework. One thing I try to do is explore the websites, other videos. You need to do your homework and determine where you want to go and what you want to do. But also you need to check websites because there could be different rules, different permits. At Glacier, we had a daily ticket that we had to get to go to certain sections of the Glacier National Park. So you need to know what to expect and what to do. So the more you know, the better the trip.
So part of being prepared when you go to a national park is packing smart. And you might ask, what do I mean by this? I mean, do you have your bug spray in your backpack? If you're going to an area that has bears, do you have your bear spray, your hiking sticks? What about plenty of water? Also, there are national parks that there's not a thing to eat in those parks. That means if you're going to be there a long time, you better pack snacks and a lunch. Don't take junk food either. That won't keep you going on a long trail. Don't forget your shoes. Please don't wear flip-flops on a 10-mile hiking trail. You're going to really regret that decision. Get you some good hiking boots and wear those in. You'll thank me for that tip later.
Here's a tip for you, and it's all about maps. Make sure you're downloading your map, whether you use Google Maps or whatever app you use on your phone, because a lot of times you get away from where you're staying and you lose any kind of cell service. So if it's downloaded, they'll work so much better. Also, we use All Trails, and that's an app for hiking, and you better make sure you download those maps because you can download those maps if you have the pro version, and it'll save you a lot of stress and maybe even keep you from getting lost. So download those maps before you leave cell service.
Now this one is really, really, really important. You've heard people say leave no trace. That really means leave no trace. Don't let the next person know that you've been there by the things you leave behind. It's no one's job to pick up your trash on the trail. Also, stay on the trail. If you go off into the woods and make a different one, someone is going to follow you and it's going to mess up the nature and you're going to change the course, which is not good. You want to take out what you brought in. You've heard the saying, take nothing but memories, leave nothing but footprints.
Now here's a secret, and it's a hack to help you avoid the crowds. What is that hack? Go early. The earlier you go, the better the parking's going to be, easier it is to get into the park itself, and the better the views because you're not going to have crowds there. And if you like to take photos, they call the early morning hour when the sun's coming up the golden hour. So you can get in there and take some great pictures and get some great shots. And at that time of the morning, the wildlife are more likely to be out. So this is a tip. Go early, avoid the crowds, and you'll have a lot more fun.
So the next thing you need to know is that you have to take measures to stay safe when you go to the national parks. You can begin, if you're going to do long trails and stuff, let someone know where you're going to be at for the day. Don't just take off and go into the national parks wandering around. Especially if you're by yourself, it's even more important that you let someone know. That way, if you don't show back up in the evening, someone will be looking for you and they won't have thousands of acres to cover. Now also, there's a lot of bears in our national parks. So if you're in a park that requires bear spray, be sure you take it with you. That's really important. We came up on bears in Glacier. It's a really cool thing. I'm telling you, there's nothing like seeing a grizzly out in the wild, but you don't want to be close to it. And you want to have your bear spray where you can do something if it charges you. Also, you might want to travel with a small first aid kit in your backpack. That way, if you get hurt or something, you can take care of it yourself to the best of your ability. You want the memories that you make in the national parks to be pleasant ones and not ones from a horror show.
Traveling with kids, make it fun. This is a tip we want to share because sometimes we don't think about it. Most national parks have a program called Junior Rangers. And if you're bringing a pet, and most parks don't allow pets, but Bella was even a bark ranger one time, and that was cool. But your kids can learn so much as they spend time with those rangers, becoming junior rangers, and it's something that will keep them engaged and involved. There are also other activities such as scavenger hunts and different activities you can get from the visitor center, learn there. Something else you can do is have them navigate, or when you have your all trails map, let them lead on a short trip, and that's a good tip. Make sure the hikes are short and sweet. That way the kids don't get too tired too quick. Happy kids mean happy adventures for the whole family.
So the next thing you need to know is that you have to be weather aware. Now, when we were in Glacier, we started out in the morning. It was blasted cold. I'm not kidding you. We were in coats and jackets and layers and everything. And by midday, you'd strip down to a t-shirt. So you want to do layers most of the time because there's such altitudes that even though you start out really chilly, you're going to end up hot before the day's over. So be weather aware, know if you need rain gear, and know if you need cold weather gear.
Here's another tip. Know your limits. Back when we went to Glacier, I didn't have this new hip. We left, the doctor wanted to do surgery before we left, but I said, no, I want to enjoy Glacier. So we got out and we hiked every day. But I had to know my limits. Lynn and her granddaughter went on a 15-mile hike that was strenuous that I knew I couldn't do. That was the day I was back at the RV editing videos. But the point is, know your limits, know your fitness level, and verify the hikes. All trails will tell you whether the hike is easy, moderate, or strenuous. So know your level and the level of the hikes and match them up.
As Danny was talking about doing your research for these national parks, that's one thing you really need to do. But don't forget your time limits. If you're going to a big national park, but you're only going to be there 3 days, don't try to cram so much into those 3 days that you don't enjoy the adventure that you're on. I watch a lot of videos, and like if I was going to be there for 3 days, I would find the top 3 trails that I wanted to hike and put those at the top of my list. And then if I still had energy when I was done with those trails, I might throw a couple of smaller ones in there with it, or enjoy the town that's around the park. The towns around our national parks are really cool.
Here's another tip for you, is plan ahead as far as a campsite or lodging, especially going to some of these high traffic areas such as Glacier National Park, Yellowstone, or Yosemite. Those campgrounds and those lodging rooms are going to go fast. We went to Glacier and we were so glad on January the 2nd, I believe it was, the first day that we could make reservations, we jumped on the phone and got them. Our friends waited 2 days and every full hookup site was taken. So make sure you're planning ahead by making those phone calls and making those reservations.
One of the first things that we like to do whenever we get to a national park is go to the visitor center. The people in the visitor center are full of knowledge. They're going to tell you the top trails to go on. They're going to tell you which ones you don't need to take small children on. They have all the info. You can tell them how long you're going to be there, and they're going to tell you what you need to hit while you're there. And they can even tell you where you can see the wildlife at different times of the year. So be sure to take the time to stop in the visitor center, pick up your maps and all the information.
One thing I want you to do is consider the America Beautiful Pass. It's the national pass that gets you in free. And if you're under 62, it costs you $80 a year. If you're over 62, then you can buy a lifetime for $80. And there are other perks such as for military, you can get in free. You can get the pass for free. Or here's a tip for you with family, a 4th grader can get in free. And that pass lets you allow 3 other people to get in the parks free as you're pulling through in the same vehicle. So consider the National Park Pass, the American Beautiful Pass, but do the math. You know, if you're only going to visit one, there's no sense of paying $80 because it'll be a lot cheaper to visit one and probably even 2. But if you're going to hit 3 parks a year, then consider the America the Beautiful Pass.
So don't forget to take your patients with you when you go to the national park, because I guarantee you, you're going to have to sit in some traffic. There's going to be lots of people, but it's okay. It's all worth the visit. But you have to be patient. You have to be patient with drivers and all the people around you. So another thing you can do is have an alternate plan. If you're in the park and it rains all day, instead of being frustrated that you didn't get to take the hike, find yourself something else to explore. Either the little town that's nearby, or a lot of these parks have inside museums and visitor centers and stuff like that. Take that day and go there and then do the hike on a sunny day.
Another thing you need to know is respect the wildlife. We've had some amazing opportunities to see some wildlife out in their habitat. So cool. But you want to make sure, this goes along with being safe, is make sure you're a proper distance away. From moose and bear, both the parks we went to that had those, it said be over 100 yards away. That's a football field. Make sure you're thinking about that. Other wildlife, it's about 25 yards away. Stay away from wildlife, get the pictures, but don't get in trouble.
So if you're a person that doesn't like crowds, here's a tip you want to know. If you visit off season on what they call the shoulder seasons of that national park that you're going to, then you will have fewer people to deal with and be able to get around faster. So now that you know everything there is to know about visiting our national parks, which one are you going to this summer?
And if you're not going to the national park, where are you going? Because we want to learn what places we should be going, because we're always looking for great places.
Always looking for new places.
So put that down in the comments.
Yeah. As we've said before in earlier videos, we are so excited. We're making our first trip ever to Alaska this summer. We hope you'll join us for all those videos. Let's see, there
are 8 national parks in Alaska,
but only 3 of them that you can drive to. And one of those is a really rough road. So
we're hoping to hit 2, maybe 3 of those.
2 or 3 of them.
Maybe more, because the other 5 you got to either fly in or take a boat into, depending on which ones they are.
Yeah.
So we'll let you know more.
We don't know about that. We don't have that unlimited budget. So,
yep.
But be sure you put in the comment where you're going this summer. And maybe if you're going to Alaska, we would love to know that too. Maybe we'll see you along the drive. Yep. Until next time, God bless and many safe travels.
And go RV, America.